Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Full Force News Burst special Let's Talk Classified ZANDAR, brought to you by Reborn.com with me, Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic AT. You really see that kind of cut on my eyebrow, can't you? That's hilarious. I just picked at a spot for like a little bit, and that's what happened. And now I'm profusely bleeding all over the place, like I've been in a battle, like I've been fighting. No, it's not that. It's not that fancy. I literally just scratched my eye brow. That's what happened. Anyway, so hope everyone's doing well today, this Sunday evening. Hope you've been enjoying your weekend. I thought I would go live and do our Let's Talk Classified ZANDAR just to finish off the name only reveal deep dives that we've been going through. And this will be the last one, actually, before we get more name-only reveals, I guess. So, yeah, let's get stuck into this one then, first and foremost. Hope everyone's doing well in the chat. Lots of you there already. Hello, David, Danny, Jamie Lynn, the Figure Six-Pack, Wilfredo, Agent Chuckles, and the Real Zim so far. Hope everyone is doing well. And Shane, how you doing? Get your comments in, get your questions in as we go, what have you, and we'll do a little bit of a Q&A at the end, of course, as per usual. But the topic of conversation today is ZANDAR. Right then, let's get stuck into ZANDAR Gross. So first and foremost, we are delving into the name only reveals, and we've done everybody now up to Xandar is literally the last one. This is a much more efficient way of doing things, in my opinion. All the edited videos are fun and great and everything, but so much work goes into them, whereas this is still a lot of work, but I much prefer not having to edit everything together, just graphics, and then I get to talk about it on screen. Cheers. I hope everyone, like I said, is having a lovely Sunday. So we have obviously covered Starduster, Alpine. We've looked at the Cobra Ferret. We've done the Iron Grenadiers. We've done Raptor. We've done Nemesis Immortal. We've done Leatherneck. We've done that whole crew. Obviously, Retro Beachhead. I mean, do we need to do a Let's Talk Classified Retro Beachhead? It's a bit obvious. We know what we're going to expect. I mean, it's not even worth it, I don't think. Retro Eels and Retro Snow Serpent, again, we know what to expect, basically. So maybe, if we get a name only reveal for like a version 2 Eels or a version 2 Snow Serpent or another version of Beachhead, then amazing, we'll do that. But as for now, I think we'll call it done with what's his name, ZANDAR. Boink, there you go. Often forgotten, often left till last. And exactly what's happened here. It's absolutely perfect, timing for ZANDAR, isn't it? You know us is my favorite ever quote from the G.I. Joe movie, aka, sorry, the Action Force movie, aka the G.I. Joe movie. When Pythona talks like Dreadnought Ripper, and he's all like, you, and ZANDAR's like, you know us, in the deepest, sexiest voice ever. That just absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's get stuck into it. From a 20-minute edited video to a 2-hour discussion, fair trade. I like that. That's exactly what I'm doing here, Scott. It's a fair trade for everyone involved, isn't it? I kind of hope it's Battlecore Beachhead, not going to lie. Jeffrey, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Battlecore Beachhead, but you never know. We could get a Battlecore style beat. You could get a Battlecore version of Beachhead at some point in the future. You never know. Is it just me, or does anyone want a color change version of ZANDAR and Zorana? Yes, Danny, we do, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. Well, at least not in this single figure retail version. A gem of that size answers all my questions, says Zartan. Right then, let's move on. So yeah, obviously, name only reveals. We're doing ZANDAR today. That's pretty obvious. Now, let's get ready to rumble. Now, early doors, and I'm going to reference the wonderful, number of books here. First off, Dan Klingensmith Jr. and his Creating G.I. Joe books. This is volume 2, in actual fact. This is going back a bit. And this actually has a lot of good stuff about ZANDAR in it, which we'll look at at the end of the episode when I can go full screen. But there's a lot of interesting kind of info in this, if not for anything, just like the presentation art by George Woodbridge, which is not what you're looking at on screen, by the way. That's the final line art that basically went towards uh, the file card artwork, which I believe is It might not be Greedo. Do you guys? I actually don't know who did the card art for Xandar. That's something I'm actually not sure on. It probably wouldn't be that difficult to work out, looking at the artwork and everything, but it's not bad. Now, the one we're looking at the moment here is the original line art with some very what do you call it, kind of rudimentary colors that were found in the 1988 international licensing material, like book, whatever it's called. International, I forgot what it's called now, but we'll see in a minute when it's written on the screen. But basically, um, that was utilized in most of the international kind of areas, like the UK utilized that artwork for, well, you're looking at it on the right hand side there. The one that's actually like looks like perfect card art is in fact the art used on the collector card in the UK, and they utilized this art for the cross sell in Spain as well. We'll get to all that a little bit later, but what you'll notice on this original artwork is that he didn't have any shoulder pauldrons, and that is quite cool. Now, in Dan's book, like I said, we'll have a look at that at the end of the episode when we kind of come out of this kind of mode. But as you can see, even on my small screen, some of the original artwork or the sketch work by Ron, the original kind of like art to design the character, had him in a kind of yellow vest, kind of ripped down one side, so it's kind of like hanging off. Again, quite sexy, but they did away with the vest eventually. There's also this, you can see it on all of those pieces actually on screen, but a dragon tattoo, or a seahorse dragon is what it looks like. But it's actually it's a dragon tattoo, and it would have been the same that we see on Zorana as well, and it would have tied them both together as brother and sister. And there you can see, again, using Dan's book, you can see the tattoo on there. And also, big shout out, like I said, I was shouting out books, but the awesome omnibus hardcover by Carson at 3D Joe's, of course, has a lot of information about Xandar, and yeah, and so, but between both of them, you get a good idea of Xandar, his artwork, and the development of this particular character. The other interesting thing is just the amount of sketches that Ron Rudat did for Xandar and how he developed. There's so many different kind of, you almost can kind of see characters appearing, like by default almost, because you've got this one right here, which looks a little bit Zanzibarish with the patch. This guy right here, which is again like another kind of version of a, some sort of like different version of a dreadnought. And there's loads, and they're really cool. So yeah, we'll have a look at that on the full screen later, but I just want to throw these out there. Now, on the original presentation art as well, you'll notice on what we're looking at on screen, which is like the art that kind of was sort of done, but then they added elements to it. They changed it slightly. Again, we'll get to that very shortly. They made the hair a little bit longer. They gave him an extra bit of face paint on the cheek down the bottom, and obviously the shoulder pauldrons were added as well, so covering up the tattoo completely. And there's a reason I'm getting into this deep depth of detail, and that will become clear when we talk about the classified version that I'd like to see, or what I'd like to see them do for the classified version. But even if you look at the presentation art, what you'll notice is his chest lasers, his chest lightning tattoos are blue and white and kind of phased out a little bit there. And that's something that we would see utilized in the what do you call it, Sunbow cartoon, which again we'll get to in a second, and obviously was reverted to red on the figure and on the file card. So that, again, nice interesting touches, but all of this does relate to what I'm trying to really get to when we talk about classified Xandar. Now, I just wanted to show you this to start with, because this is the original kind of design, almost like the original final, if that makes sense, because this went out, and like I said, it went out to like the international licensing book. It went on like it went on a lot of, like, like I said, like UK, um, Spanish, all sorts of different kind of card backs and stuff. You kind of see this pop up a bit every now and again, and it's really interesting. And I think the best version that we see of this particular artwork is this collector card art, which we're looking at on the right. And again, we will get to in a second. Now, Zandar version 1, the actual figure, the final figure with the new card art. Look at those shoulder pauldrons. I like saying pauldrons, but the shoulder armor looks huge, doesn't it, on the artwork? It comes out in 1986. It's the third sibling in the Dreadnoks hierarchy, and that's obviously, Zartan, Zorana and Zandar, and Zorana and Zandar came out obviously in the same year. And instead of the tattoo that tied them together, it was these bits of shoulder armor which tied all of them together, including Zartan. So the figure, like I said, was slightly altered from the original proposed design and included shoulder pauldrons. Had to say it again. Drink every time I say pauldrons. He came with a backpack quiver and a harpoon-style rifle. His skin changed color in the same way as the rest of his family. So all of those figures, Zartan, Zandar, and Zorana, all change color to that kind of like purpley magenta-y color, which is just so awesome. I love that color. What do they describe it as in this book? Coming back to Dan's book again, because there's a real like interesting way they describe it. And it is, where is it? Yeah, purple magenta. I was right the first. Yeah, so purple / magenta when exposed to light. Yeah, awesome. So let's move on. There's the figure, and it's honestly, it's not a bad figure. I always used to think as a kid he had a massive head. I'm not sure if anyone else felt that way about the figure. Like his head just seemed huge compared to like proportionally. But I really liked the figure. I thought it was really cool. And one thing that we'll get to in a moment surprised the crap out of me, but I'll wait until we get to that point. But I thought the design was cool. I liked the vibe. I liked the tattoos. I liked obviously the lightning on the chest was really freaking awesome. The colors. I mean, you're talking like this deep orange hair, the kind of blue in the bandana, and the rest of the blue on the shoulder armor and the secondaries and the quiver, I think, are all different. And then you've got the yellow belt, the grey pants. It's just, there's a lot going on here. And then the pink scarf, which I've just kind of breezed over there. A bright pink scarf. There's a lot of random colors in this, but there is that element of, he's a dreadnought, so he's a little bit, there's no like, it's not straight down the middle, it's not uniform, it is just, punky or mental, in your face, ridiculous. Ryan Daly says, off topic, but I heard some talk there will be a Star Wars HasLab launching May the 4th. I wonder why. So the G.I. Joe HasLab probably at the end of Yojo June. Yeah, I think we've all been like expecting it to be in June, Ryan, but that would help make a bit more sense, absolutely. Anyway, there goes Chris teasing us again. Yeah, I know I was just talking for ages at the beginning about shoulder pauldrons, basically. Yes, diecast. We're going to get to that point in a second. Exactly the same as you. Exactly the same. Right, here we go. So here's an interesting thing that happened, though, in Zandar's file card. What is weird here is that we have the artwork. That's the artwork that we see on the file card, just cut into that smaller section, right? Everything's cool. You got the shoulder armor on there. Yeah, everything looks great. Then the second year, so 86, 87, this happens. See that? It's the old artwork. It's the artwork that we've just been talking about at the beginning of this show. So the hair shorter, like I said, if you go back here, you can see there's more face paint on this version, on the actual version that ended up on the file card, and the shoulders armor disappears. Isn't that crazy? So they reverted to whether it was accidental or not, which seems weird because surely they would have had this art and file card lined up anyway. So why change it? It's not like the figure had to force any changes. So I don't know why that happened. but it happened, and we ended up with this version of the artwork following. So this is like the year afterwards, which is really interesting. And you can find all of this information out on I think 3djoes.com as well. So shout out again to Carson and to Dan K for their work, obviously in doing all the research in the first place. But isn't that really cool? I quite like that little additional kind of, you know, I always think of Conan O'Brien when I see Xandar says RKW. I can see why. I can see why. Exactly, Carl. That's why I thought it was funny that Star Wars would do their HasLab on May the 4th, because of exactly that. Were there changes between the 86 and 87 lines? Not in the figure. The figure didn't change, but the file card did for some reason. Interesting. And like it's not weird that the GI Joe figures, especially the American releases, had ever so slightly different file cards from one to the other. We went from like that peach style to the grey one, and then another slightly off grey color, like almost like a beigey grey. So they had like a card art as well. Figure six pack stayed the same. So the front of the card stayed the same, but the back of the card had this weird change go on, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, that happens. And the rest of the card is more or less exactly the same, apart from the H1 that appears at the bottom right hand corner. But the file card on the front did not change, but it did on the back. Now, next up, we have his appearance in A Real American Hero. So we're kind of going through this chronologically. We'll get to everything like and in the year that that all kicks off. So he first appeared in the Marvel Comics in issue 51, 1986. He helps Zartan escape from the pit. Ripper mentions that he vaguely remembers that Zartan had a brother, but couldn't. Sorry, that was my bad. But couldn't recall what he looked like, which played up his file card bioinformation basically. And Buzzer accidentally sits on him, which really does, you know, hammer home the characters kind of like, you know, almost like background kind of noise. What's interesting is that he was colored with pink hair as well as a kind of like a darker pink neckerchief. But all quite interesting little additions, and how he looks in the comics is ever so slightly different. He's got the blue lightning as well, like the presentation art and the Sunbow cartoon, which we will talk about now. First appeared in the second season of the Sunbow animated series. He's voiced by Peter Cullen, but then also by Roger C. Carmel and Milton James in Arise Serpento Arise when Peter wasn't available. So he gets 3 different voice actors in that 5-part miniseries, which I think is hilarious. I always think Peter Cullen when I hear Xandar anyway, but Robert Carmel and Milton James did an amazing job in like making it so that he still stayed, you know, on theme in the voice kind of acting department. But that was great, I thought. Of course, he also featured in the animated movie in 1987, and that might come up again a little bit with the winter jacket kind of vibe, which I think would be a good thing to possibly do further along in the line when we're talking classified. But what you'll notice, like I said before, is that he has not just blue, but now it is like a blue and white parallel lightning for the Sunbow cartoon. So on George Woodbridge's presentation art, it almost was like blue, white kind of phasing. Whereas in this is like they've just done that. They've just done blue and white next to each other, which is quite interesting. For me, it's quite interesting. QI. Now we move on to the UK, because in 1988, actually, do I want to talk a little bit more? I actually want to talk a little bit more about the animation, I think. One, I have to say that Arise Serpento Arise is one of the biggest kind of like nostalgic hits for me. Like I absolutely bloody love that 5-parter. We'll go to this one, right? And one of the reasons is I really loved that scene where, again, we're going back to Yucatan, the world's meanest salad, and they're at Montezuma's tomb. They're all, there's like low light, dial tone, Flint, Recondo, maybe someone else. I can't remember who else. Xandar probably, and they're all kind of like stationed in their different positions on the tomb, and the Dreadnoks, Zartan, and Xandar are kind of waiting just like in the tree line next, like right next to the tomb. And Xandar just runs in there to kind of send information back, like visual information, as to point out where all the Joes are. And I just thought it was really cool. I remember him. Now, this is the thing that always, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but he gets out, like, it's like a pen camera. It's like a camera on like a little extended thing, and he kind of points it in the direction, and the image comes back on Xandar's little TV thing, handheld thing. Now, what I always thought that was, it looked like he was applying camouflage to himself. And I used to think he was applying like more zigzags on his face, on his body and his face, like using this like makeup stick, and never put two and two together that obviously he was pointing a camera at them. And I don't know why I thought that, but for the longest time, I just thought that was makeup going. He was putting on his, like camo makeup, not like blush or anything. And then anyway, so I always thought that was kind of funny. But I really loved that scene because it was really cool. Like, he was doing this infiltration thing. I don't know. I really liked it when they did that. Like, the Pythona infiltration scene in the movie is incredible. Almost never improved. Like, nothing ever comes close to that quality, for me, in animation. Like, there's that scene where she is infiltrating the Terradrome is easily one of like the easily top 3 moments in animated history for me. Like, it is just amazing. And I love those kind of moments in shows like this. And obviously in Arise Spencer Arise, I know it's not the same, but it just had that vibe of like, brother, leave everything to me, as he runs in there and just kind of like, and then he ends up kind of like just dragging Lowlight out of his position, which I wonder if he kind of isolated Lowlight as the sniper that would do the most damage to people, and obviously being in that position, so he had to take him out in order for the others to get there, kind of, get in without being like spotted by the Night Spotter. You never really explains that, but I wonder if that was going through the writers' minds for that one. Anyway, Optimus Prime voiced Airborne and Xandar. How bizarre. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Nothing as jarring as Ripper having Starscream's voice. Yeah, I mean, it's like Ripper was latter, wasn't it? And that was obviously Cobra Commanders too. But Ripper's definitely got more of a kind of, yeah, what is it, like he's Tasmanian, but it's not that, is it? He almost sounds Cockney, I think, Ripper, when they do his voice, although he's supposed to be Australian, really, or that way inclined. Yeah, the movie "You Know Us" line is incredible. Also being shocked someone noticed that he exists. Kind of, WJ, but he isn't the one that gets called out as well. It's Ripper, because she's talking to Dreadnought Ripper, and they're like, and they all go, "Huh?" They're all taken aback, and he kind of is the one that steps in and goes, "You know us," and she's like, "We know everything," etc., etc. We never got Xandar versus Ambush, WJ. That would be good, actually, wouldn't it? That would be really good as like a classified kind of wave to get Xandar and Ambush. Yeah, right on par with some scenes from Fire and Ice, says Eduardo. I mean, I think I saw that at the same time, around about the same period era that I saw the G.I. Joe, the Action Force movie. Especially when Don Johnson narrated how you can penetrate the base's defenses. Oh, raw talk, exactly. Yes, that was when he was doing that, when they broke into the to save Serpentor, though. That was cool too. But yeah, awesome stuff. Anyway, yeah, he's in the movie, brilliant stuff. And yeah, really, and this is another reason why I really like the figure. He was available in the UK, and I had this one on Action Force Xandar the Enemy card. Notice though how, if we go, let's go back a bit. I'll just point something out to you on the file card here. It says in top left hand corner, fully posable modern army figure changes color in yellow. Sunlight changes skin colors in brackets, right? Nice one. And there's the Xandar the Enemy logo. I always thought that was funny that they had you know, their own named logos. Like he's had his own branding team on this one. But then if we get back to the UK one, notice it just has the usual fully posable modern action army figure with interchangeable snap-on accessories. The ages is 5 and up kind of job. and then Action Force Zandar, the enemy. Zandar, Zartan's brother, Beachhead looking over his shoulder, but that's a collector card, because we're in the collector card era right now, which is, I definitely got. This is the exact, like, not the exact one, but this is what I would have had when I was a kid. I got this on card with 2 free collector card stickers inside. And those went in the collector album, which you could get as well. I think you mailed away for that. Yeah, you, well, not you, yeah, you did mail away for it. And I remember I got one, and this is, so this is what I would have had as a kid, and absolutely fell in love with it, because I mean it's a cool figure. Yeah, stickers Eva as well, WJ. So they were collector cards, but they also were sticky, so they would stick in the collector album. It was amazing, and we'll get to that album in a second. It's an absolute beauty. I may actually, do I have one near me? As in, I used to. It used to be in here in my desk. I wonder if it's still here. I'm gonna have to see if I can pull that one out for next time, because I need to show you that. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a great little like like UK exclusive thing. It's got artwork, like exclusive artwork in there. It's amazing. Now, anyway, in 1988, Zandar was released for the Action Force International Heroes line in the UK and Europe. It was the same figure with the same accessories, but removed all mention of his color change feature on the front of the card and even in the file card bio. So we still got the same figure. And again, even though the head was a bit big, it was a really nice sculpt. Like, I love the hair sculpt. I love the look. The face was really good. I love the face paint and everything like that, and the kind of sharp, kind of like, like the lines, kind of like the, it's a really good head sculpt. But I would 100% say that I think the head needed to be a tiny bit smaller. There was a space to stick your photo on the front of that sticker book, if I remember correctly. There was, Diecast Nick, absolutely correct. So there's your Zandar, exactly the same figure, deco's the same, accessories are the same, nothing changes. Now we get that kind of original, like, not the original artwork, but that first artwork without the shoulder guards, with the shorter hair, without the extra face makeup taken off. That's what we get on the back of the card. And they've removed the bit that says, if we go back, I'm going back and forth a lot here, but if we go back to this, it says, if you look at the first paragraph at the end, it says, like his brother Zartan, he has the ability to change skin color. Now, if we go back to this UK one, that's not there anymore. It's the only change actually on here. They took that out. And so this is effectively the same card as that second version of the US one, which is really interesting, isn't it? Like, I still find that kind of a bit perplexing. But anyway, you can't really tell that he doesn't have the shoulder pauldrons on that version, because it's like, so he's tight in that kind of space. So, as a kid, you're not going to be like second guessing that the front of the art isn't the same as the back of the art. But you could, if you'd have been paying attention, you would have been able to look at that card in the front and see the differences quite clearly. That hair is completely different, so much shorter. Anyway, I always thought that was quite interesting. Now, this is the original artwork, found its way onto the collector's cards. The art, like I said, I've said armor this time, so you don't get to drink this time. The art features no shoulder pauldrons, there you go, shorter hair and less face paint. The art was also found in the 1988 International Licensing Guide, which is here. And you'll also see Zorana's original artwork in there too, which also doesn't have the shoulder armor and shows off that dragon tattoo, which I would love, right? For one thing, if you're going to do like an O-ring version of Zandar, which I think, Super 7 are probably going to do at some point now, right? I hope they would do a version like this where you had this version of the figure with no shoulder armor and you had a dragon tattoo, and maybe they changed the chest color to the blue and the white just to mix it up a bit, because they've done it with Zorana. Hasbro did when they released Zorana with the Soundwave Thunder Machine. She's now got the dragon tattoo, no shoulder armor, etc., etc. So I would love it if they did that. That'd be so cool, honestly. And then also, this artwork was found on the back of the cross sell for Spanish card backs, and there you go, both of them, both siblings with their original artwork on there, which is kind of cool. It's cool to know. And also, how hench does Zandar look when you take that shoulder armor off? dude's got some biceps, hasn't he? My goodness. Um, so yeah, just again, I really like that there's this kind of nice depth of like different artwork floating around, and just like we had with Leatherneck, with all those different quirky things that happened with Leatherneck in the last episode, I feel like we got even more quirkiness with Xandar. But yeah, awesome stuff. Ripper had a huge head. Yeah, he did, Scott, didn't he? A lot of the yeah, in fact, Buzzer might have a pretty dense noggin as well. I mean, they all got quite big heads, haven't they? Yeah, funny that. But yeah, I didn't have Ripper, but I've had him since, and he does have a chonking head. But anyway, yeah. So that's that. That's and then of course we go on to Xandar Fun School. If I missed something out there, oh no, we looked at that's the collector card art. I think we've already looked at that and talked about it, haven't we? I didn't show you is the other artwork that's in that collector book, which is really cool. He's flying a trouble bubble, but I shall show you when we go through that book another time because I just can't find it. Okay, Fun School now, and in 1990, Xandar was released for the Indian Fun School line. I make that distinction because obviously Russia also had Fun School figures as well. He featured slightly different colors on both the figure and his accessories, and there are like a ton of variants. It's like Loki, basically. So many variants. Now the file card has got the full art on it, which is quite interesting, and is the shoulder pauldron artwork, I should say. And they've also kind of minimized some of the text in the file card, but nothing really crazy different on there. They've just taken certain elements from that original card art. Do you think their favorite band was ZZ Top? Yeah, actually, I kind of do. Dang, I could have went to India to get Old Joe's, says WJ. That'd have been cool, man. Shout out to Fun School Ronnie as well, who I think I end up getting some images from as well. So yeah, massive shout out to Fun School Ronnie. If you don't follow him on like all the socials, make sure you do. He's got an amazing collection of Fun School GI Joe, and yeah, he's brilliant. RONY, Fun School Ronnie. Now, like I said, there were a number of variations, as is the case with most Fun School releases, including. So, well, before we get to that, let's look at all these variants. You can even see one of them doesn't have the lightning deco on the chest. So they've removed the chest tattoo basically, or just not paint masked it, not bothered doing it. Which again, it's par for the course with Fun School. And I mean, look at all the different, like some of the backpacks are really dark blue, some of them are teal, some of them are that kind of, really like bluey blue. And then like, the rest of the figures, so many different like variations on plastic quality and color. The shoulder pauldrons in the top left are really dark on that one, and the skin color on the top middle is really, really pale. So it's kind of interesting but again, that's Fun School for you. It is a absolute, and it feel like there are some releases from Fun School where no two figures are the same. Like it just feels like every single one of them is something completely different. And there's something really fun about that school. Now, including, talking of variants, an early card variation often referred to as portrait cards. Now, I've seen these about before, but never really kind of understood what was going on here. But Pat enlightened me that these are, early versions of some Fun School releases came on these kind of card backs before they switched back to that kind of style, like basically the Hasbro card back with the Fun School logo on it. But I find that kind of cool that they had these like purple cheeky portrait cards. I don't know, I just think it's really fun. And and I like the fact that again you've got the artwork slightly different again, but it's the shoulder pauldrons version. Yeah, is everyone drunk yet? By the way, I've said pauldrons like 1,000 times already. Now let's move into the Devil's Due Productions, or whatever it's called. Devil's Due. Let's move into the DDP. I know it's something completely. It's something else. I always forget the name now because I used to think it was Devil's Due Publishing. I'm pretty sure it's not actually, because that's what my default was. Devil's Due It might be publishing. I always thought it was. I always thought it was publishing, and then I swore I checked out, and it was no. It is Devil's Due. I was right the first time. It is Devil's Due Publishing, DDP. Now, in Dreadnoks Declassified, Xandar appeared in this miniseries in 2006, and his real name was revealed as Zachary, and the birthplace somewhere in Florida. And as you can see in this little this bit here, he's only a little boy, and he's trying to get a donut, and he got a whole box of donuts. All he cares about is donuts by the looks of it. But his mom, Zartan Zarana, and Xandar's mother, she calls him Zachary. Thought you were with your sister. You too, Zach, go outside and play. There you go. So anyway, Zach or Zachary was kind of almost like this new origin for the Dreadnoks, and how Zartan got his powers and his abilities and everything, and just how the family dynamic was, and how the Dreadnoks started, and all that kind of stuff. What was interesting though is that DDP's run was later disavowed. But we would see Zachary pop up again, actually, later in the brand's history, which is, again, quite interesting. I know Dreadnoks and their donuts, I know. And there's another shot of Xandar kind of going through the years in that particular series before. And he doesn't really get to the Xandar we know, really, by the end of that miniseries. He's still, like, a little bit kind of but like plain, like he's just got pink hair most of the time, and he doesn't, you know, you don't see him with the shoulder pauldrons and so on and so forth at the end or anything like that. Now, someone mentioned in the comments as well, but I wasn't going to talk about every single comic appearance, but he does appear on and off throughout most of the, you know, the different like runs of the comics and the different companies that have been involved. And he was also quite a major player in the Coil during that whole Serpentor sort of like return in the DDP series again. So Xandar was used quite a bit there, which was quite nice. Like he was getting like it was like a little resurgence of his character basically in those comics. Then we get the version 2 figure. Now this is 2011 now, so we've jumped quite a bit in time. This is the second version of Xandar. Came packaged with Burnout version 2, Clyde Nor Hyde, Dreadnought Thunder, Road Pig version 4, Zanya, and Zanzibar version 3 in the Dreadnoks Battle Set 7-pack for the 30th anniversary. There you can see the figure. Much bigger neckerchief on this one, but that was there was reuse of parts going on, I believe, on this one. But it was really cool to get, you know, again, a figure in the modern 4-inch and very, very close to that kind of vintage version with the shoulder armor, the blue headband, the face paint, the chest, you know, lightning and everything tattoo. Very cool. Wilfredo Diaz says, I'm plastered, because you've been drinking every time I say pauldrons, haven't you? Cheers. I should be as well, but I don't drink. He also came with I don't know if he's supposed to be given the crossbow, because there is a readout on his file card that explains what they all come with, and I think the crossbow doesn't get called out on anyone's file card. It might do actually, but I don't think it gets called out on his file card. But what's interesting, there's the 7-pack, of course. It takes me back because I remember getting this. I got a couple of these sets. And I remember my buddy came round while I was doing a video. I was doing like a video review, kind of editing it together, taking pictures and kind of putting together this video review for, you know, very early on in like the kind of Diagnostic 80s reviews sort of days, right? And my mate came around. He had a son. Shout out to Ian Strachan, good long-term friend of mine from back in the day. And I haven't spoken to him in years now. And I remember him coming around with his son, and his son really was into the figure. Like he was like, these are so cool. Oh my God. And then before they left, I grabbed the other set that was unopened, because I would keep one, open another, and have one, you know, one in box and one out. And I was kind of like, you know, I don't need both of them. This is just greedy at this point. And I loved the figures so much because I was playing with them and they were really cool and like taking pictures and everything. And I just said, "There you go, have that." So I gave Ian's son the figures, and apparently he was playing with them for the longest time. Like every time I would go over there, the figures would be out. Like he'd be messing around with them or playing with them. And Ian even said to me, "Yeah, he like loves that set, and he always messes around with it." And it's interesting because I look at a lot of his other toys, and he would have like Ian would spoil him. He had a lot of cool toys, but in a good way. He's not a spoiled kid at all. But like I remember he had a lot of the toys he had weren't like that sort of level of cool or complex. It was always like the basic stuff that you would see in the UK, it would be like you'd see it in Sainsbury's and you'd see it in like those kind of like grocery stores that also had a toy section, right? And I'm not like again, like they would go to Toys R Us and all that stuff as well, but it would always be like his age group. It just seemed like Crash and Bash stuff. Do you know what I mean? And he wasn't that young. He wasn't like super young. But he loved those figures. And like, yeah, I was really happy that he was, enjoying them, honestly. Because it's that thing in it. It's like when I was a kid, if someone had given me a 7-pack of Dreadnoks, especially considering I was into GI Joe, like I was into Action Force, I was into that stuff as a kid, like crazy into it. If someone had given me 7 action figures, like at that age, I don't know what I think I might have melted. And it didn't really dawn on me until like I saw him playing with them so often. And I'd go around there all the time, so like I'd see them all the time. But it was crazy good to see that. And also then I just put myself in that position, thought, actually, damn, like if someone had done this for me as a kid, like if someone other than my parents, obviously, and buying me presents, which is also amazing. But I mean, if some rando of my dad's mates gave me 7 action figures, I would have crapped my pants, no doubt. I probably wouldn't even pants wouldn't be an acceptable item of clothing anymore. It would be out all the time. I'd just be running around waving it around because I'd be so ecstatic. That's what would be happening. Um, yeah, pants would be not even an option. Just off with his pants. My pants, that is. Anyway, I thought Zartan and his siblings were French. W, yeah. I mean, again, like this is it was a origin for those particular figures that was done by Devil's Due like publishing, like not retconning, but like creating origins for these figures that didn't have them, or these characters that didn't really have them. And so when it kind of got disavowed, I mean, it stands alone in its own little universe, really, effectively, I think. So yeah, you're really like looking at something along those lines. But I mean, um, I think kind of Florida makes a lot of sense in so many ways for the three of them, especially their weird tanning situation. Anyway, let's look at the card because on that card they've resurrected that Zachary name, which obviously, like I said, was first noted in that Dreadnoks Declassified miniseries, then taken on board for this particular release, the 7-pack. And then the birthplace believed to be somewhere in Florida. Now, primary weapon, rifle, combat gear, pistol, knife. See what I mean? So if you go back to the figure, you've got that rifle in hand, the pistol is on his secondary, and the knife is in his sheath. But then there's also another knife and a crossbow that they effectively give him on Yojo, that is. But I don't know if maybe he wasn't supposed to come with those, and it was maybe one of the other set. I should have read all of the cards, but I can't remember or be bothered. But yeah, and then we get that Dreadnought logo, which is quite nice as well. But that is the kind of use of Zachary anyway, which is again kind of cool. That came up. It kind of comes up again, and it kind of creates almost like an acceptable real name for Xandar as Zachary. Zachary, I didn't know it was you. Anyway, I didn't quite buy the Cobra Commander Snake Eyes friendship though. Oh, what in the Declassified series? Yeah, me neither. I'm kind of like, in some cases it was kind of cool because we got an origin for Shooter, didn't we? And in others, yeah, the Snake Eyes one wasn't like totally on board with. I mean, it didn't buzz my berries, and the Dreadnoks one was okay, but it was, I think, it was more the anticipation of the series than the actual series itself that I was more excited about. I think the end result wasn't necessarily something I was super vibing with, but I don't know. I was still quite happy to collect lots of different comic series at that time, and they did a lot of little kind of spin-offs, didn't they? Master and Apprentice was really good. I remember really liking Master and Apprentice. The artwork, especially in some of those issues, were phenomenal. America's Elite as well. I remember loving the artwork in America's Elite until it went a little bit weird. But especially that first issue of America's Elite, some beautiful artwork in it. Everyone's got a hench, but it's like just, I don't know, some real beautiful artwork in it. Um, huh? I don't know what that means. Um, the Larry Hama one is still Marvel canon in my head, says Diagnostic. Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah. That's where most of the origins are anyway. But there are some characters that just don't really have an origin story from Larry, and Xandar was one of those. And I'm kind of glad that he did get some love in Devil's, DDP for a short period of time. Anyway, um, I had to come with a natural origin for Dreadnoks using that. A bar local to me uses grape juice for a shop mix, so I just changed it to grape soda. Nice. Um, Grape soda was, to me, was alcohol. Jelly donuts are drugs. Interesting. That's your head canon, is it, Carl? Oh, Aussie irony humor by making fun of cops. I get it. I get it. Um, nice one. Anyway, so that is Xandar history done, right? Now let's talk classified Xandar. And the reason I've gone into, well, I go into so much depth because we want to talk about the history of the figure, but the reason I've gone into so much depth and gone over some things so many times is because I want to see it incorporated into the classified version. Now, you don't have to do a figure that is, I mean, you could do a figure that's exactly the same as the original, right? 100% like, but in 6 inch, which is what I fully expect, honestly. And I'll just pop back to this. But how cool would it be if they do the removable shoulder pauldrons, right? So they make the armor on the shoulder just straps around the biceps, so they just kind of stay on the top of the arms, if you want them to, or you can remove them, and et voila, you can have effectively this version of Xandar and the tattoos underneath one of the shoulder pauldrons. How awesome would that be? I just think that would be a really nice touch. One, two, it would be a great homage to this original design. And they love a tattoo, and this guy's got a decent amount of them. If you consider that chest thing a tattoo, here's a question for you guys, because I've just been saying tattoo all day long, but I also joked as a kid. I thought he was putting it on his chest when he had that weird pen in his hand in Arise Serpentor Arise, but no, it was a camera. But what do you guys think? Do you think that's a tattoo, or do you think he's just put that on there in the same way that the face makeup's on there? Because I doubt that's a tattoo on his face, but it could be. It could be a tattoo. Like, do you think all of it's tattoo, or do you think it's makeup, paint, etc., on the chest and the face? Let me know in the comments. That is a true point, actually, Scott, with Zorana not having the tattoo. Although I don't think she has a tattoo. Imagine if I removed it and she had a tattoo. Imagine that, because she's got removable pauldrons, hasn't she? No, they're glued on. It just looks like they're a bicep strap on there. But yeah, I think they've done that because it would maybe be too finicky. But they're very small, the pauldrons on Zorana. But maybe we get a Zorana like on a retro card that has the dragon tattoo and has exposed upper arms. That would actually be really cool, actually, thinking about it, because it could be a good way, one, of because it could be a good way of getting Zorana again. Although I think doing her in that all black cold slither t-shirt sort of SDCC exclusive deco would be amazing. I'd be there all day for that. In fact, now that I've got Zorana, I'm really excited in hand because I feel like I have not given this figure enough love, and there's so much cool stuff about her. I really do like this figure, and it's like it's like unboxing again, all out of from out of nowhere. But anyway, so yeah, I personally, my opinion is that he's got face paint on and that he's got a chest tattoo. Because could you imagine applying paint to your chest every day? Like what a pain in the butt that would be. It must be like a like a what do you call it? Stencil that he'd have to stick on and then spray on his chest every time. Like I couldn't be bothered. Like just get a tattoo. So what are we saying here? People are saying it could be a tattoo. I think it's paint. I thought it was body paint. It's like war paint. I reckon Zorana is the girl with the dragon tattoo. She should be. You rarely saw color tattoos in the 80s. Good point. Although it wasn't completely beyond the the realms of possibility though. Colorful tattoos. Master of Camouflage. I expected the marking to all be camo paint. Good point. Liquid Identity 101. Do you think his classified figure would have a more elaborate tattoo? I think you could go with the red, right? You could do the red stripes. Stripes? You could do the red, like the action figure, basically, right? What we know and love. I think it's going to look very much like this figure, honestly. I think it's going to have the shoulder armor. I think it's going to have the secondary. All I'm saying is I'd like it if they had removable shoulder pauldrons like Steel Core, which someone mentioned earlier on. I think it was Jamie Lynn. Yeah, Steel Core pauldrons. You just wanted to say pauldrons. Cheers. Pauldrons. Get drunk. That's what I'm telling you. Sunday night. Wake up Monday morning just like, why? So yeah, tattoo underneath the pauldron. Perfect. You can take them off and you can have that original Zartan vibe going on, just like that old artwork, that kind of first artwork. And yeah, and then the rest of the figure, effectively what you're seeing right now. Now, the other thing you could kind of change up as well, you could have the red lightning. 3 of them, it would appear, for the most part. Or this could happen. So I took this is from one of my favorite episodes, Arise Pencil Arise. It's funny that both of those shots are from effectively the same scene. And it looks like 2 completely different characters, doesn't it? The size of him on the right, like he is absolutely hench in that one on the right. And then look on the one on the left, and he looks like he's really let himself go a little bit, honestly, which is funny, I think. But I like how the chest kind of design has almost changed dramatically as well. And they went with, like I said, white and blue kind of corresponding, or blue with like a white line on it, as you can see there. But I really do think that this could be maybe a retro release in the future where they just change the chest color for the kind of chest tattoo or paint. But yeah, I think personally, I think the Sunbow made it feel like the chest stuff was painted and the face was painted, and nothing was really a tattoo. But I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, Xandar had a dad bod. He does in some of these shots, doesn't he? Paul says, so is Hasbro going to release a vintage style one first or a Python Patrol version? Well, I imagine we'll get a regular version. There isn't a Python Patrol Xandar in existence, is there? That would be kind of cool, though, to add him to Python Patrol. Maybe add like Zorana there as well, because I'd love them as Python Patrol figures. You could kind of do Zorana in her like black gear from that SDCC version and make it a little, add those little Python Patrol elements to her, and you kind of covered two homages a little bit there. And Xandar would be cool, Python Patrol, because it would just be the shoulder gut armor and the pants that you'd go ham on. He's already got the yellow belt. That's done. And he could get he could have a Python Patrol logo tattooed on it or painted on his chest. In any case, that is Xandar, I think. Was there anything else I wanted to maybe run by you guys in terms of classified? I think that's it really. I don't think he necessarily needs to come with a ton of gear. I think a quiver backpack and kind of anyone we've already seen, honestly, in the line would work. In terms of we've had a harpoon rifle, haven't we? But we've had him with obviously the eels up inside, yeah. But that would have to be an actual harpoon or spear gun, wouldn't it? Which is slightly different. So maybe they could do something new, and then we could see it again for. Have we had a spear gun? I feel like we have, but I can't get the torpedo wetsuit one out of my head. Anyway, knee pads. Chris, Scrap Iron has Xandar's knee pads. Does he? Do you think so? Interesting. Look at the Zartan and Chuckles classified, and you will get a cool Xandar. Okay, in terms of mixing parts and stuff. Oh, Zarana stole Python Patrol armor in A Real American Hero. Yes, John. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah, she did. Anyway, yeah, I'd like to see Zarana and Xandar in the Python Patrol, and I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibilities. The Alley Viper gun is a grappling hook. I'm talking about a spear gun. So that thing that he's got on screen at the moment is specifically a spear gun. The Alley Vipers, it's like a grappling hook thing, isn't it? Different purposes, different specialties. But I personally think the harpoon that wetsuit and torpedo have is probably the closest actually, but I think they would probably do a new rifle for this one with this spear on it, and I think that'd be really cool. The pistol obviously removable in the secondary, of course, and a knife on the thigh, and that's all you really need. The secondary, of course, and the scarf would be separate, but they'd be on him. So, but again, you could probably get away with a Viper scarf. Do you think? I think you probably could, honestly, but it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be as cool as Xandar's because it's got a bit ripped and torn, isn't it? But I think you'd probably get away with the Vipers one. I'm just wondering. Yeah, do you know what? I think you could. I genuinely think you could get away with a Viper neckerchief on him, just in pink. I mean, I could be wrong. They might do a new one, but I think it's too easy, isn't it? That to me just makes sense, and it would be highly acceptable. I would accept that no problem. Just a pink version of the Viper's neckerchief. Then, of course, the secondary, and I feel like we've got one of those in the line. Does Tunnel Rat have one like that? Does Tunnel Rat have one like that? Or someone have one like that? I wish I was more knowledgeable on the parts in Classified. It's weird, isn't it? Consider I'm really into this line and I open every box on camera and I go through everything with a fine-tooth comb and I do Let's Talk Classified deep dives and I do all of this stuff and I can never remember what any figure has on them or utilizes. It's remarkable how much information I forget within seconds of dealing with it. It's one of my superhero abilities, basically. They could reuse several rifles and just add the spear tip as a blast effect port in. I guess they could do that. It's not a bad idea, honestly. Xandar could have a forearm tattoo because I worry that removable pauldrons can be a pain to put on and off. Yeah, I figure. Maybe Xandar acquired his knee pads from Mars. Could have done. Xandar would have knife, sheath, pistol holster, spear gun, quiver, scarf, pauldrons. Yeah. I definitely, I don't know. I would like them to be secondaries just so we could have that little tattoo underneath. I think that would be great, and then it would cover all the bases. And then in terms of a repaint for like a retro carded version, you could just change the chest color. Now they could come out with the blue and white, which would be nice. I don't know which one I prefer actually. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the red lightning or do you prefer the blue and white lightning? And it's like 3 lines. Is it 3 or is it 2? I feel like it's 3 on the figure. Yeah, it is, I think. Um, and then it's 2 on the animation, although the animation changes from like minute to minute. Let's have a look at that other animated screenshot I took. Uh, it might be 2 on him there as well. So it looks like it's 2 on the animation model, 3 on the action figure, and yeah. So you could either have 3 red or 2 blue and white. And I would keep it that strict. I genuinely would. I'd be like, look at the reference. If we're doing a white and blue one, it has to be 2. And if we're doing the red one, it has to be 3. That's what I would be so unmovable on that literal point if I was designing this line. Like I would have both of them out. I would definitely have retro carded, one of them retro carded and one of them released in the classified series regular. I would definitely do it. I know it's one change, but I'm that mean. I would make you guys buy this figure twice. But at least it would be like completely different on the chest. So that would be kind of cool. And of course, you don't have to agree with me in any way, shape, or form. Jamie Lynn says Tunnel Rat does have that secondary, but it does not go around his midsection. Thank you, Jamie Lynn. T-Rat says a double shoulder strap, not armpit strap. Thank you, Scott. Liquid Identity says red chest marking for me, please. Please don't force me to accept Sunbow into my display. Tough. It's coming, and it's going to be impossible to avoid. Look at the picture. It looks like a shirt. Oh, the one we're looking at the moment. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Like the I know exactly what you mean. Other than like what I thought was like a belly button line. No, you're right. It does look like they've done creases in like a top and then been told, "Oh, by the way, it's not actually a shirt, it's his body." So they've had to just paint it his skin tone, which I think is freaking hilarious. But this is the thing, right? You know what Sunbow's like? They could think because of his color changing ability like his brother that maybe he just has like a shirt that he wears that he can just change. It just changes whatever. So now it's like mimicking his skin color, and it's also put the things on the shirt. Do you know what I mean? Like that's Sunbow, isn't it? Like I could see that. But you're right, the image does look like a shirt. I didn't notice that honestly before Raw Talk Real Deal. So good spot. W says, why not purple? Red and blue combined. No, it's got to be both. I want both at the same. I want different times. I want red on one, and I want blue and white on the other. The left arm looks like a short sleeve. Yeah, you're right. 100% right. They've drawn it as a shirt, and then realized their error and had to rectify it in color. Scott says Recondo's holster is closed, but it has an extra shoulder strap. Oh yeah, I think that's who I was thinking of actually. That was the one that was in my head. Thank you. Flesh shirt, indeed. Kitty said. Zartan hood hair argument. It is a little bit in it, Carl. Although, why do people think it's hair? I still don't really understand that. Oh well. They should have the tattoo lightning that changes colors. Well, Freda, that's genius. So it's red to start with, and then it hits different lighting, and it becomes blue and white. But then, no, even better than that, right? When it changes, when when light hits it, the 3 red lightning things disappear, and 2 blue and white ones appear in the spaces between. So we can get 3 and 2 happening as well. Zandar's shirt is the same material as Zartan's cowl. Yeah, big time. Generation Joe says, let's be honest, if this character didn't come out of our nostalgia, we would all think the character design is terrible. Would we though? Because I just explained at the beginning that I really liked the design. I thought it was quite, and I've explained why in detail. I think it genuinely is a preference. I definitely agree with that, and I would also add that I think it might be the default thought to go with, let's be honest, if it wasn't part of our nostalgia, if you don't like the design to start with. And I think that might be more the case here because it is a little bit bonkers and out there. And it's not your standard military garb, it's not your standard, bad guy trooper sort of garb. It's weird and it's odd. That doesn't mean that some people will only like it because it was part of their nostalgia, if that makes sense. So I get what you're saying, but I also would counter that with you're picking a character that's bonkers, and just because it's bonkers doesn't mean it's one of those ones that is, in that realm. I would say, I mean, everything's impractical as well, in it. I mean, you can pick in practicality in like your favorite characters. It's everywhere. The most popular character in GI Joe, or characters, arguably, but not really. Let's say Snake Eyes and Cobra Commander, right? Snake Eyes has a visor that somehow floats on what looks to be spandex. It's like the most impossible impractical getup ever. Not the goggles one, obviously that is a little bit more practical, but the most popular version of Snake Eyes is that one, is the second one. Then Cobra Commander. I mean, where do we start? Um, just with the helmet, I guess. It's just getting them to make them to kind of make sense has been really difficult. Like the one that we got for Modern Icons is cool, but you can still see my face through it. Anyway, no, I get what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. And I know that there's going to be an element with a lot of characters that we only like them because of this, that, and the other. Is it a similar vibe? I don't think it's different. I think it's different though, because right, there's that kind of thing of cancelled characters. This is a beautiful example, right? When there's a cancelled character and everyone's like, oh god, I wish that had come out, I wish that had come out. But then you really delve into it and you go, if it had come out, would anyone have cared? Like you look at it and you think some of those cancelled figures, you're just like, it's not really that cool. It's just because it's cancelled. And it might, there's a similar vibe there, isn't it? Like we only want it because we can't have it. And in this case, it's slightly different in that, do we only like it because it sparks that nostalgia in us? But I really like this design, and there's something very appealing to me, and I can't wait for the classified figure. But in your case, Generation Joe, maybe that is the feeling that you're having. Like you might be thinking, I really like this, I really like Xandar, but like with a practical head on, I just can't. I don't know why, because he looks ridiculous. And he does. He looks like an absolutely mental case. Imagine going out like that. Imagine stepping out like that. Even in his most like punk, crazy like youth days. What? You would be yeah, like getting some funny looks looking like that. Again, you can dress it however you want as well. But what I'm saying, it is a bonkers getup. Do not get me wrong. But there's something about it. Do you know what? I might even hit the gym a little bit and then try and do this cosplay. I've said that my entire life. Like I would only ever, I really wanted to do Shebang, not Shebang. Who's the topless one? Is it Shebang? Out of the Ninja Force. There's a topless one. Oh, I think it's not Shebang, is it? Which one am I thinking of, guys? Who's the kind of mostly topless one in the Ninja Force for the good guys? Oh my god, I've had such a brain fart here. Anyway, like there was that figure I wanted to cosplay as, but my plan was, this was when Joe Con was happening, and I wanted to like basically hit the gym, like get in real good shape, and then do that do that cosplay. Not Dojo, was it? No, Dojo wasn't topless. What am I talking about? Have I gone mad? Maybe it was Chibang. Let's do Yo Joe Ninja Force. It was Banzai. Yes. Oh, you've said it. Everyone said it already. Thank you. Yes, Banzai was the one I was trying to think of. Yeah, I wanted to do Banzai as a cosplay. Um, yeah, pink and purple as well. And that deco on the pants is wicked with like the spatter, pink spatter on black pants is so good. Yeah, so I wanted to do that, and I wanted to do. So Xandar is definitely up there. Do you know what I'm saying? Um, Generation Joe says, "Okay, fair. Sorry, this is I've just been attacking Generation Joe, haven't I? Sorry, mate. However, let me say that out of all the Dreadnoks, who are all wild aesthetics wise, he's the most ridiculous. Yes, agreed. Even more ridiculous than Zanzibar, who I love as well. And the fact they added a pirate, Norgahide, Chef's kiss. But you're right, Xandar is an absolutely ridiculous looking SOB. But I'm here for it. I think that's the difference. I'm here for it. Quick Kick is a good shout, Carl. Actually, there's another topless character I'd love to, I'd have loved to have done. But no, I think it's really down to Banzai, Night Creeper Leader, and Xandar. So that's my. Shall we set some sort of like goal for me at the end of the year? Okay, here. This is what's going to happen, and we're going to have to you're going to have to hold me to this, right? I'm going to cosplay as Banzai, topless and everything, right? For the next Christmas special. Okay, is everyone cool with this? Because this is going to get me in shape, and I hope the peer pressure in the comments will keep pushing me to be better physically to pull off, Kitty said, a Banzai topless cosplay for the Christmas special this coming Christmas. How's that? How's that sound? Or should I just do Xandar, considering we're talking about Xandar right now? Let's do Xandar. I'll do Xandar. That's even funnier because I can get like orange hair, blue headband, face paint, pink. It's an easier cosplay than Banzai because Banzai needs like the mask and everything. Okay, we're doing Xandar. This is it. It makes sense. We're talking about let's talk classified Xandar. I'm gonna tell Kate this, and I'm gonna have to start like friggin' working out every single morning. But that's what I need to do anyway. So it might as well have some sort of peer pressure from you guys. That is the aim. Xandar by Christmas. Okay. Please don't make me forget this because this happens all the time, and this feels like I know we're in February. It's not exactly like what's the word New Year's resolution, but I feel like this is a Xandar resolution. I'm going to be Xandar. I'm going to fade into the background at Christmas, and everyone's going to keep forgetting I'm on screen, but it's happening. Okay, Xandar by Christmas. Thank you, Scott Skeen. Hashtag Xandar by Christmas. It's happening. All right. I'm going to do the chest paint. I'm going to be. I am shaved. I do have hair, lots of it, but I tend to try and shave it off because I can't stand it. I hate hair on my body, anywhere on my body. I hate it. Even on my face, by the way. I don't like having a beard, by the way. I don't. I would shave this if I didn't like a chubby 12-year-old when I did do it. Anyway, too much information, but Xandar by Christmas. Right. This has been fun. And also, I'm really pumped about this. And I literally have to be because I have to be pumped when I do it. Or I could just be like about here so you can't see anything provocative. Plus, I'll have the scarf on the kind of pink scarf, so that'll cover a lot of the terrible aspects. But you're going to have to see it. You're going to have to see the chest paint. There's going to have to be an image we'll have to show as well. So yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. Xandar is a late 2024 or early 25 release. I think 25, yeah. So the timing would be good, wouldn't it? Have yourself a Xandary Christmas. If you do Xandar, I will do Big Boa or Roadblock. That sounds great, Raw Talk. Yeah, do it. We can all like peer pressure each other into working out. Big Boa would be cool, actually. I could do Big Boa would be funny. But I'd have to get like a helmet and it's difficult with the headphones. This is an easier one because with Xandar, I just have to, I'll get a wig because I'm not dyeing my hair orange. That ain't happening in any like world. And I'll do face paint and I'll shave my beard, but not completely. But yeah, we are doing this. This is happening. I just get a flesh shirt. That'll be the backup if I don't get into good enough shape. Scott, that will 100% happen. Right. I promised you a little close look at Dan's book. So let's transition. I don't think have I forgotten anything? I hope not. Let me know anyway in the comments, but let's quickly switch to camera one. I bet you thought it was going to be Xandar then. You know, I'm not that good. Anyway, I think that's a fun, like doable and not too dangerous kind of mission for me for the year, is to get into the kind of shape that I want to be in and also do Xandar cosplay on the show for the Christmas episode. And a bit of fluff in my beard. And if I get in shape before Christmas, it may even happen earlier, just so I can get it out of the way. So this was what I was talking about earlier. Dan K's kind of volume 2 of Creating G.I. Joe. Now, as you can see over here, this is the George Woodbridge presentation art, which is really nice. Again, very close to what the figure actually ended up coming out like. But you've got the kind of like the blue and white phased sort of chest paint. What does it say in here? Does it say paint or does it say Well, it just says lightning bolts were added to his chest when they removed the shirt, because as you can see over here, this is the original Ron Rudat piece with the dragon tattoo there, which says as you can see, logo is sea blue, not black. Dragon tattoo, same as sister. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. Anyway, anywho, I really do like, yeah, and then we can see some of those other kind of like sketches that he did for kind of designs. They all kind of look, they do look like different dreadnought henchmen, don't they? Rather than different versions of Xandar. None of them really. Hang on. I can't work out how to do things. There we go. It's that one I'm trying to zoom in on. Neat. Cool, aren't they? And then finally, these ones I showed you earlier, the kind of almost like Zanzibar pirate one, and like the cyberpunk sort of future thug. And then another little bit of work done, headshot from the sculpture sheet, as well as an image of the 2-1 sculpt of Xandar. Notice that there is no armor on the sculpted arms at this point in the design process. Interesting as well, huh? So the figure in the sculpting process didn't even have those pauldrons either. Amazing stuff. So that's really cool. And shout out, of course, to Dan for, this is volume 2, but there are like 11 or 12 or 13 now. Oh, there's a lot anyway. So getting on that. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this Xandar episode. I actually oddly enjoyed that one. What are we saying? Scott says Banzai better than Xandar because he has no mask, so no shaving required. I'll still do it. I genuinely want to do Xandar now. I think it would be it's not too difficult as well. I mean that, you know, you could easily get like, I mean, I got it in the past, but like that kind of like thick strap sort of almost like a material strap kind of rolls of it, different colors. I could get a blue version of that for the shoulder strap with the pistol and everything. That would be easy. Pink scarf, no worries. The shoulder things would be really fun to do, like in foam. So yeah, easy. The Full Force Weekly now with more nipples. And of course the paint would be fun on the chest. That would be real fun. And I'd probably get I'd probably do that as a stencil and get Kate to paint it on there. Amazing stuff. This is going to happen. Xandar by Christmas. Challenge accepted. Well, yeah, I guess. Does remind me, I got my push-ups to do yet today for the February push-up challenge. I didn't even, I missed that. You're gonna have to shave your beard and mustache too. Well, I'll shave it down. I'm not gonna shave it off. I look hilarious without it. Streets of Rage minion, lol. Yeah, that one of them did look like that. Just don't get angry when we remind you to work out. I won't. I'll just be like angry that I forgot, or need to do it still. Anyway, this has been fun, guys. Had a lot of fun tonight talking Xandar with you guys. Now, I've got tomorrow. I'm going to be opening General Hawk. Yeah, I'm so excited for this one. I can't tell you. So much fun stuff happening on this cover, actually, on this the front of the box. So much fun stuff going on. I can't zoom in on that. I wish I could zoom in on this. Even I've taken pictures and zoomed in, obviously, but like you can't really work out what's going on there. But it's great. I love it. I love it. The stun and the triple T and the HQ and General Hawk twice. But anyway, we'll get on to that. We'll talk about that when we talk about it, which will be tomorrow. This has been fun. I really do prefer doing Let's Talk Classified series as a live rather than a edited video, because it's less work editing wise, and that's always good. Genuinely, let's just do lives forever now, I think. Yeah, we'll call it a night then, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been fun as always. Always remember to stay fresh, cheese bags, and as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3, full force Xandar by Christmas. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @The Full Force Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.